I'm not fighting no more. Kelly, let me do my job. I just told you I didn't want to do no interviews, and you said you are going to do interviews. Now you told me to do interviews. Now you're trying to take me away from them. No. Let me show Dante's Boxing Nation some love.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Well, it looks like Terrence Crawford, he's starting to change up his tactics, and now he's starting to apply some serious pressure on Errol Spence to take the fight. Errol Spence, who just took Sean Porter's belt in a unification match, is now slated to fight against Danny Garcia. Now, right after Errol Spence beat Sean Porter at the press conference, he did include Terrence Crawford's name when he started calling out opponents. I personally believe the fight is going to happen next year. I believe Errol Spence, he wants to go ahead and take care of Danny Garcia, possibly get the Manny Pacquiao fight, and if he doesn't get the Manny Pacquiao fight, I think he'll then fight Terrence Crawford. But the thing is, Terrence Crawford doesn't want to wait that long. Terrence wants to fight like yesterday. And like I said before, he's really stepping it up when it comes to pressuring Errol Spence to take this fight. This is what he recently said about Errol Spence to TMZ. Quote, "Take off them panties and put your pants on, and let's sign the contract." I honestly believe when it comes to him, deep down in his heart, he knows what he's up against when he goes up against me. And then Terrence Crawford, he goes into the Spence-Porter fight. This is what he had to say. "It was a close fight, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't say it was a big-time robbery, but it was a close fight. And if I had to give it to anybody, give the victory to anybody, I think Sean Porter deserved it." End quote. First things first, there's no doubt about it. Terrence Crawford, he touched on it. He says basically he believes that Errol Spence thinks deep down that Terrence Crawford is going to be his toughest fight, or one of his toughest fights. And there's no doubt that's true, because even Errol Spence himself, he told Terrence Crawford to his face. He said, "I might as well knock out Sean Porter first and then deal with you." Which is basically saying he's admitting that he knows that Sean Porter would be an easier fight than a Terrence Crawford, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. There's nothing wrong with being honest when you know someone is a tougher challenge. The difference from Errol Spence and other people in this situation is I truly believe Errol Spence, he's going to take the Terrence Crawford fight, and I believe he's going to do it next year. I mean, as long as the fight happens eventually, me personally, I don't have a problem with the fight not happening right away. But I completely understand Terrence Crawford's urgency because he's been on the outside looking in. He's been trying to crash this party for the longest. And honestly, I think if you're Terrence Crawford, this is exactly what he needs to do. He needs to start applying more and more pressure. He can't just sit back and just watch everything go down in the welterweight division while he's not invited to the party. He has to make some noise. He has to make a lot of noise, and he has to do it consistently. That's the only way he's going to have a chance of getting one of those fights, one of those major fights in the welterweight division. Now, Errol Spence, or Sean Porter rather, he already said that if he can't get a rematch with Errol Spence, then he's going to go after Terrence Crawford, which I've already told you guys, that would be the exact fight that Terrence Crawford needs. Not only if he were to beat Sean Porter, it would make the Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford fight even bigger. Now, some fans concerned maybe Terrence Crawford wouldn't take the Sean Porter fight because Terrence said that Sean Porter is his friend. But you guys have to realize a lot of these guys have been friends and fought against each other. I mean, this is business, it's not personal. Errol Spence was hanging at Sean Porter's house playing basketball with him. Just like he said after the fight, he said, "I love your dad." Matter of fact, he said that before the fight. When he jumped in the ring and he called out Sean Porter. He said, "Sean, he said, I love your dad, but me and you, we got to get it on. You got a belt, so we got to fight for it." On top of that, if Sean Porter is already thinking about fighting against Terrence Crawford, then clearly he sees it the same way, that it's not personal, it's business. So let's see what happens next. Let's see what happens in the near future. But for now, we got Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia, and that's going to be a tough fight and a very exciting fight as well. I really, really hope they can make Sean Porter versus Terrence Crawford, because that's win-win for everybody in the welterweight division if that fight takes place. Like I said before, if Sean Porter, if he wins that fight against Terrence Crawford, then he earns his rematch right away. It obviously makes the rematch way bigger. And if Terrence Crawford were to go in there against Shawn Porter, we get to compare how he would do against Shawn Porter. If he wins the fight, of course, then people would really be pushing for that fight. But like I said, once again, I have faith and I believe that fight is going to happen next year. With that being said, I'm going to wrap this one up. Oh yeah, and the radio show is back. I'm still setting up the studio right now. The show will be back up running next Sunday, but we may even do a show earlier than that. I'll let you guys know. I'll keep you posted. I'm on to the next one.